What is up, everyone? As a web developer, you probably already know that performance on your websites is incredibly important. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do lazy loading of your images just like this with vanilla JavaScript. All right, so a couple of things before we get started. First off, this video is sponsored by Scrimba and specifically their front-end developer career path. Now for me, when I was learning web development, I really struggled with what things to focus on and how to progress from one thing to another. That's the beauty of this career path, is it's going to walk you through all the skills that you need to know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then career ready skills to become a front-end web developer. Now for $39 a month, you can get access to that path as well as all of the other amazing content that Scrimba has on its platform. And I want to walk you down here to the what you'll build section. There's some really cool apps in here that you will build. And I do want you to also know that this content is brought to you by some of the best content creators out there, including myself and some other names and faces you will probably recognize. So for $39 a month, you definitely want to check out the Scrimba front-end developer career path with all of the amazing content that comes with it. Secondly, if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and then turn on that notification bell so that you can get updates as new content comes out. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this mouth-watering list of images of burgers. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the performance implications that are happening here. Now, just so you know how this is built, I have grabbed a bunch of images from Unsplash. So I'm not using the API. What I did is if you search for anything and then you right click on one of these images, you can copy the image address. So what I did is I just took that image address and I took it into VS Code, and I've got an HTML page where I've got these different image tags, and they have the source property is set to one of those images. I don't know if this is the exact same one, but if I paste this thing in here, here's an example. This might actually be the first one that I'm referencing here. Anyway, so this is the URL for this image, which we're using to go out and pull. So if we just look at this application, and all we have is HTML file that you see here, a blank JavaScript file that we'll get into in a second, and then a CSS file with just a little bit of styling in here on the images, and then the title. There's really not much there, but you can check it out if you want. So inside of our HTML file, we're referencing these images. So let's look at what this application looks like, where if we refresh this page, what we're doing is we're pulling in all those images, and it loads pretty quickly. But the problem is there's a couple of things that we're doing here that are really not good for performance. One, we're trying to load the full like high res, it's not super high res, but we're trying to load that full image right as the application starts up. We don't need to do that. What we can do is in lazy loading, we can either wait to load that image, or we can initially load a really small version of that image, which will give us that blurry effect, and then in JavaScript load in the real version of it, or the full version of that image. So we'll get to that in a second. But then also, we're loading the full image for all of these images down here, even if the user doesn't scroll to the bottom of the page. So this is 8 different images that we are making that request for, when if the user only scrolls to here, they only need to see 3 images. You don't need to request all 8 of them. So those are some of the things that we're looking to improve here. And from a user experience perspective, inside of the network tab, I can turn this down to, let's just start with a fast 3G. And if I refresh this, you'll see how unperformant this is. From a user experience perspective, I see just kind of nothing for a little while. And if I take this down to slow 3G and then refresh, you can kind of see how bad this is from a user experience perspective. So it's going to load. I see nothing. The user has no idea that something is going on. And this actually just takes long enough that it may not even work well for this demo. But there's the first one, and then so on and so on. So this is a great tool that you can play around with, is inside of your network tab, just pull it down to fast 3G or something to test this out. So what we want to do is, if we look inside of this URL, let me bump this font size back up here. Inside of the URL, you've got some properties in here like fit equals crop, and Q equals 60, and W equals 800. W in this case is actually the width of the image that we want to request. And this is common for services like Cloudinary. I've got a video on doing image upload to Cloudinary, or I use Sanity as the headless CMS for my backend, for my website. They all kind of give you this option of, with query parameters or inside of the URL, you can specify what width of image you're looking for. In this case, that's what Unsplash does as well. So maybe one of the things that I could do is if I take this thing down to 10 pixels or something like that, and I come back and refresh this image, notice that I get this blurry effect for this image here. So that's starting to look like something, and that image is a heck of a lot smaller than any of the other ones because of how low resolution it is. Let's see if we can grab, yeah, this one down here. As you can see, let's actually get rid of that. Inside of the size here, this is 994 bytes versus 62 kilobytes, 51 kilobytes, 60 kilobytes. All the other ones are so much bigger. So we can get this blurry effect by starting with an image that only has a width of 10, and then somehow in JavaScript dynamically going and updating that to get a nicer image. So what we'll do is I'm going to come in here and just search for this width 800 and just replace this with a width of 10. And so we'll replace all of those. And then now if we look at our site, we should just see a bunch of blurry images. But if we also throw this down to slow 3G, if you remember how slow this was before, just look at how much faster it is to be able to pull in these lower res images. So it's still not super performant, but it's much better than it was before. So the user is not just looking at a blank screen, they're actually looking at something. They know something is going on, and now we can get into how do we update this thing? Well, what we want to do is we want to update the source property here with another string that is basically the full res of the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select source equals quotation, and then I'm going to use a command Shift L, and this will select all instances of that, because what I want to do is I want to select the entire source. I want to duplicate that thing and paste it down, change this to a data source property, and then update the width to 800. Now, if you didn't catch that, what I did was select a piece of text, so source equals, and then use Command Shift L to select all instances. Now I could go in and edit and add all of these properties everywhere, which is pretty sweet, I think. So now we've got this data source property that is set to kind of the full image that we want. Now the question is, like, how do we then update the image to then use the data source property? Well, we could do something like, one, in our JavaScript, we need to get a reference to all of our images. So we'll do document, query, selector, all. And I could be more specific about this, but I'm just going to grab all the image tags. And I could go in and say images for each, and we'll grab each image. And we could grab the new URL or something. It doesn't really matter. And what we can do is we can call image.getAttribute, and we'll call this the data.source property. So we want to get this data source property that is here. That's the full URL. And then we want to just swap out the image source with this new URL. So we can say image dot, or excuse me, this is spelled out, image dot source equals new URL. All right, so now if we look, what should happen is this will actually, you can see these requests are now pending. So what happened is we loaded that small image, and then now it's requesting the full image, which is just taking a while. Let's show this by bumping it up to fast 3G so it doesn't take quite as long. So we should see blurry effect, and now we see the full image. There we go, coming through. So all we did was we just waited. Actually, we didn't wait at all. After the JavaScript gets on the screen, so this is, the JavaScript is loaded at the bottom down here. When that JavaScript is loaded, it's going to grab all those images and update those properties. So this is what we want to do, but we don't necessarily want to update for each one of these burger images because the user may not scroll down to the bottom. So we only want to do this if the user actually scrolls down to an image individually. So what we can do is we can use the intersection observer in JavaScript. Let's just look at W3 schools. That's usually the best. Actually, maybe they don't have an example on here, which kind of sucks. But inside of the intersection observer API, this is a way for us to performantly detect whether or not an item actually gets on the screen. So the use case here is for lazy loading of images and other content to do infinite scrolling and things like that. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use this intersection observer and use it to determine whether or not the image is on the screen. If it is on the screen, then we'll go ahead and swap out the URL, which is pretty sweet. So we will start with doing some image options. So image options equals, and I can start with just an empty object here. And then we want to create a new intersection observer. So let's do this. Let's create our intersection observer. We will pass in the image options, and then we'll pass a callback right in here. So inside of this callback, we'll get a list of entries. These are things that are actually being tracked by the intersection observer. And then we'll get the observer as well in here, and then we'll have a function. So inside of this intersection observer, what we want to do is grab the image, and the image is going to be, we want to iterate through each one of the entries and then grab the image from that. So we'll do entries.for each, and we'll grab each entry. And then what do we want to do with each entry? We want to grab the entry.target. So the target is going to be that image property that we're looking for. And then lastly, I'm going to take this image for each down here and copy it to the bottom. We need to tell the intersection observer to actually track the image. So actually pay attention to that image so that it can let us know when it's on the screen. So I'm going to comment out that URL swapping stuff. And I'm going to say observer.observe image. All right, so this way we're tracking each of the images. And then inside of here, let's just log out the image object itself. Let's just see if that works. All right, so let's go back over to our document. Let's look in the console. Now you see we've got all of our image tags showing over here. So what we can do is just like we did before, for each one of those images, let's swap out the URL for the one that is in the data source property. So we're going from the very small image to now loading the full image, the 800 width pixel or 800 width image, whatever. All right, so now if we come back over to our application and refresh, we should see that our images are being loaded. So we see this effect taking place, but we actually are already going and requesting all of the images below as well. So the thing we need to add is we need to check if entry.is intersecting. So if it actually is intersecting, which means it's on the screen, we want to do what we just did. We want to update the link. Otherwise, we want to leave it alone. So if it's not intersecting, we can just return out of this callback. So we only update the images for the ones that are on screen. So let's save this. Let's come back to our application, and we should see that now the first two have gone and updated. If I scroll down really quickly, you see the blurry effect. So these now are going to update because I scrolled down to those images. You can actually see those requests coming over here in the console as well in the network tab. Let's actually show just the images here. But look at this. If I scroll back through here, you see I'm doing a lot more requests. I wonder why that is. Well, inside of Intersection Observer, all we're doing is checking to see if the image is intersecting, and then we're updating the URL to basically go and tell it to fetch the image again. But we only want to do that once. We don't want to re-fetch the higher res images if it's already been done. So what we can do is if we go ahead and update this URL, we need to tell the Intersection Observer to stop observing that image. And we can do this by calling the observer.unobserve and then pass it the image. So what this is saying is after we've updated that URL to be the higher res image, just don't care about that image anymore. It's already been loaded, which is pretty nice. So if we come back over and refresh our page, we have updated two of our images because we can see them on the screen. If I scroll down, you see the blurry effect. So those are going to load in now. And then if I scroll down, I'll get the rest of them. But if I scroll back up, there's no more requests coming over here in the network tab, which is great. That means we're only making requests for the high res images for the ones that the user actually scrolls down to. This is a heck of a lot more performant than what we had before. Originally, we were using the higher res URL for the images. Those were loading at the start of the application or when the web page was loaded. This means that the user basically saw nothing for a while those images were loading. And we were loading all of the images regardless of whether or not the user actually got down to them. In this case, what we're doing is we're loading a very low res image, only 10 pixels wide. That's how you get that blurry effect, which I think is pretty sweet. And then we're only loading the higher res image if the user actually scrolls down to it. Now, one other thing I would like to do is I have a little bit of a complaint in here that inside of our markup, our HTML, this is a little bit bloated with this data source property. So what I would like to do is I would like to get rid of the data source property and then just update the source property by replacing width equals 10 with width equals 800. So what I'm going to do is that little trick earlier. I'm going to search data source equals and then just select it and then do Command Shift L. And that will select all instances of this. And then I'll go back to the beginning of that line and to the end of the line underneath it and delete, and then delete the line that it is on. And now our markup is a lot cleaner. And what we want to do is say, we don't need to grab the new URL. We can just say the image source equals image source.replace. And then what we're replacing is the, let's just say, just to be sure we get the exact thing we want, let's replace this part here. So that part there we want to replace with 800 instead of 10. So all we're doing is keeping that same URL and then replacing something inside of it with now with a width of 800 versus the original width of 10. Now, I do want to clarify, this only works if you really understand how the URLs are for the images that you're working with. If you don't know that the images have these properties embedded in them, it's not really going to make sense for you. But since I know exactly what these URLs are going to look like, I can just go in and replace them to be what I want. And what we should see is now if we reload this, we see the same effect, right? If we scroll down, we have the blurry effect. Now we see the image loading in. And then if we scroll back up, we don't see any more requests being made out to Unsplash, which is really great. And then just to show, let's do the slow 3G one more time. Just show you how useful this blurry effect is. As this page starts to load, we at least see a blurry image, right? Even though it takes a while for the image to fully load behind the scenes, the user knows something is going on because that blurry image is there. And then lastly, if we take this back to our regular network, we see just a quick little spritz of the blurry image before they fully come in. And by the time I scroll down to the bottom of the page, I don't even realize that the images are being lazy loaded in. This is a really neat effect and really powerful for performance. So that's all I wanted to show you. I think this stuff is really good, and it's something you need to pay attention to in your websites. I'm curious, do you do any optimization or lazy loading with images in your websites? I personally use Gatsby for my personal site and a few other sites, and it has some built-in features to take care of this for you. But I wanted to show you how to do it in vanilla JavaScript. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully your websites are going to be that much more performant from now on. Thanks for checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one.